There comes a time in every gamer's life where you will get burnt out, but that's also true for collecting. As a video game collector, up until now, I'm 27 years old. I have never felt burnout from collecting, but right now, I think I am burnt out from collecting. I do think games and collecting games are getting kind of boring. Starting from the stuff that's more recent, modern consoles and modern releases, it's just so boring to collect them now. Like, there was a time with the PlayStation 4 even when I would go buy like $100 a game. I'd get like a pretty fat stack, 5-6 games at a time, and it was like, awesome, let's bang through all these games. I would play through pretty much all of them, and whether I finished them or just got really deep into them and got bored, I would play all of them. But now when I go out and I buy mass amounts of modern games, it's wait for it to install. Even if it's like $100 worth of games, I might get one game, maybe I'll get 2 games. They just gotten so expensive now, and they never go on sale anymore. And it's not fun with modern games. The only thing that's still fun to collect for modern games is the Nintendo Switch, but with the Switch 2 being so much more powerful, I don't see devs putting the entire game on the cartridge anymore. I think those days are over. I think collecting as a hobby for modern games are probably going to be coming to a conclusion here in the next decade or so. And a large part of that is these limited time game releases. Limited run games used to be one of the best people on the planet. There was nothing bad you could say about them. They were great. But now they get their hands on any title they can, even things that shouldn't be a limited release, like the Yakuza series on Xbox and Switch. That should have been a mass marketed release. There was no reason for that to get a limited run release, and a lot of major games recently have been doing that. Sonic Generations even got that. I mean, they had a mass release for like the standard version of the game, but everything else, nope, just limited run, and that was stupid. Why? And to a certain degree, PlayAsia is becoming a problem with this too, because they are exclusively handling the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Remake, and that's just why? Because they're only going to do it on PlayStation. They're not going to do an Xbox release, and if there's a Switch 2 release, they're not going to do it on Switch 2 either. And then furthermore, I live in Texas. Game collecting in Texas sucks. Where I live in West Texas, there are no game stores at all. So whenever I game collect, it's on eBay. Here's my version of collecting, going game hunting now. I pull up eBay, I scroll around, I look for things for a while, I get bored, I don't buy anything, I come back, I buy something. That's not fun anymore. When I still lived in the United States, because I personally don't consider Texas American, this place is a shithole. If you've ever been here, you know. When I still lived back on the East Coast, any game store I went to, it was a cultural experience. There was game music playing in the background, there was always on the TV some type of long play from a game or videos from a YouTuber playing. They used to play at the one I went to all the time at Game Exchange. They used to put World of Long Plays up, and it would be so many random games just playing start to finish, 24/7, all day. And then the way the game store was laid out, it looked almost exactly like a movie gallery. It was an experience going to game hunt. But now, when I go back to these stores, when I go home, it's very corporate, it's very boring. There is no anything playing on the TVs anymore. It's just a blank background. There's no music playing in the background, and if it is, it's K-pop or radio or something, which kind of defeats the purpose of a game store. These game stores are no longer just video game specific, and yes, I understand that makes it harder for them to stay afloat, but the fact that almost all these game stores back home now are a K-pop store as well, a music store, a comic book store, which I love comics, so I'm happy about that one, a toy store, and not even good toys, we're talking like Nerf stuff, a Funko Pop store. Like, they are in everything in one shop, and I absolutely hate that. There's a game store in Austin that I went to not too long ago. I can't remember its name. It was like Level Up Games or something. I'll put a picture of it here, but it was one of the best game store experiences I have been in post-pandemic. It was just video games. Everything was video games. There was no K-pop, there was no toys unless they were video game related. It was perfect. It was beautiful. But again, that whole culture around game collecting is kind of coming to an end, because not just with the stores, but people see it as a profit. People see it as a way to maximize entertainment value. I mean, look at Phoenix Resale. He and I are both from Kentucky. I ran into him a lot. He's damaged this hobby a lot because he showed everybody that, look, buy these games, grade them, money. Oh my God. Graded games, graded games, graded games. That ruined video game collecting as well. Because now you got all these fools. Let me show you something right now. This is Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. It is sealed, right? I have never opened this. Why did I never open this? Because I bought the game digitally, but then I didn't realize I was going to be getting this, so I got it, and now I just never opened it. The reason I got it digitally is because when I was a kid, it was just cheaper for me that way, because I didn't want to go out to the store, and I didn't want to go on eBay, because when it first came out, every game was just sold out, and it was like $100 on eBay. Actually, that's an exaggeration. I think it was like 70 on eBay, but I wasn't gonna pay 70 for a $40 game when that came out. But going back on topic, I could take that game, I could send it off to get it graded. It would be a perfect grade, like an A+, 10 out of 10, whatever the top grade is from Water or whatever, and I can throw it on eBay and I can drop it at like $1,000. Someone's gonna buy it within 24 hours for $1,000. Why? Because you got all these people thinking games are going to go up in value, which I guess to a certain degree they are, but video game collecting as a whole is getting damaged by that, because now you got everybody making these cheap games expensive. Like, watch and see, mark my words, right? When Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out in a couple months, or I guess at this point a couple weeks, that game on the Wii U is going to skyrocket in price, because people are going to be buying it, grading it, and trying to resell it, thinking they got some gold mine on their hands. It's going to force come back down in price, but temporarily it's going to be jacked up for no reason. We saw that with the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes just even a couple years ago, 5-6 years ago, before this even became a problem. Resident Evil 2 was like a $30 game on PlayStation 1, comes out with the remake, people buy it, start grading it, now it's like 50, 60, a little more. Maybe it's came back down a little bit, but that's ridiculous. And then another thing that is making video game collecting become a problem, become boring, become just stale to me, is I go out and I buy these retro games. There are only a handful of places I can go locally that do sell retro games, and almost 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna let you open it up. I'll buy it, I'll take a chance, and this has happened 3 times now, where I have bought a complete brand new, or not brand new, but what is supposed to be a complete game, and then I bring it home, I open it up, and yes, the boxes might be complete with the booklet and everything, but maybe that's fake too, I don't know. But I open up the cartridge and you know what it is? It's a fake motherboard. This has happened a lot locally with Super Nintendo games and Game Boy Advance games, and it drives me insane. And I get scared, I really do. I get scared to buy expensive games off eBay because of the chance that it could be fake. But so it's hurting me as far as going out and collecting things that I want, because at this point a lot of those older games, it's just like, why even take the chance on getting a fake copy when I can just emulate it? And a lot of times when you buy these games off eBay anyways, they come in broken. Toy Story on Game Boy Color, I got it, did not play at all, so what I end up having to do, I end up having to download a ROM and install it onto my Analog Pocket, and that's how I can play it now. So a lot of times these games, it's just, what's the point in buying them anymore when I can just do that? Doing that is way less headache and way less frustration than any other method right now. I do personally really hope that video game collecting will have an uptick again and get really exciting and really fun again. But the way things are going right now, where it's becoming more of, I guess, a less consumer-friendly marketplace, and it's becoming more of a how can I make as much money as I can, or how can I just corporatize video game collecting, it's really starting to get stale, and I'm really, honestly and truly, not having a good time with it. So overall, my current mindset of video game collecting in 2025 is that video game collecting is no longer fun and it's getting boring. Now, I'm sure at some point in this year, I'm gonna go out on a road trip to go get games, and I'm gonna have an exciting, enjoyable time. I'll make a video about it and I'll even show you how excited I am. But as of right now, I don't feel like that's gonna change my opinion that things are getting stale. Things are getting boring. I mean, there for a long time, we had video game collecting. It was like everything I explained here, but we also had YouTubers, everyone and their mother going out, going crazy making games or making videos on these retro games. But now it's like they've either burnt out or they've talked about everything they can. So even just consuming retro content as a whole, it's kind of dying down a lot. Another thing I feel like is kind of hurting retro collecting, at least in my opinion, and this is not a bad thing in any way of the word, but it's all these remakes and remasters coming out. I mean, we just got Marvel vs. Capcom a couple months ago. No reason to go back and buy any of those titles now when you can play it the best way possible on your PlayStation, on your Xbox, on your Switch, even on Steam, I believe it released. So there's not really any reason to go back and buy it now unless you just want to spend $80, $90, $100 for those games. And I personally can't justify that, because why would I go back and pay $80, $90, whatever it is now for Marvel vs. Capcom OG, and play that on the original hardware when I can pay like $35, I think that's what I got it for, on the Switch? Or even furthermore, why pay that when I can go and buy all these other great games? Right now it's a gold mine for the PlayStation 1. You take $80, you're getting like 9, 10 really quality games. And that's of course if you're buying in person. If you're buying online, factoring and shipping, you're getting like 5 or 6 really quality games. And it's such a great time to collect, but the whole aura, the whole culture around game collecting it's just boring right now. It just sucks. But what do you think about the current state of video game collecting? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, try not to die, and I'll see you in the next video.